The 35-car field has roared to life. The stock car racing warriors of the Midwestern-based ARCA Series get set to tackle one of the most demanding facilities in all of America. Get set, ARCA Racing from Pocono is next. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Without question, the lush green Pocono Mountains of eastern Pennsylvania are one of the premier honeymoon and vacation resort areas in all of North America. From the mist-covered mountains to the majestic beauty of a giant waterfall, recreation activities abound. If you like to relax with the simple pleasures of a quiet canoe, or you can pick up the pace with an invigorating assault down a man-made mountain course on an alpine slide. And for those fast-paced recreation enthusiasts, just over the mountain, there's this, stock car racing ARCA style at the always unpredictable Pocono International Raceway. As fastest qualifier, Bill Venturini learned the hard way, late yesterday. So stay tuned, more exciting ARCA action is coming your way next from Pocono. Today live from Pocono International Raceway, it's the Automobile Racing Club of America's Champion Batteries 150. It is a typical spring day here in the Pocono Mountains. Temperatures in the low 80s, a slight breeze from the north, just a beautiful afternoon for racing. Hello everyone, I'm Gary Punch and welcome to Pocono International Raceway. Since 1983, the Midwestern stock car drivers have been coming here and enjoying this unique 2.5-mile layout. In 14 events, there have been 5 different winners. But last year, one driver literally owned this place, dominating both events. We're talking about Rochester Hills, Michigan driver Bob Keselowski. The question is, can he three-peat? Can he win 3 in a row? Well, let's get some expert advice from our expert commentator, 2-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And Ned, if Keselowski is to win 3 in a row here, he'll have to overcome not only the competitors, but the elements of this tough track today.
It's never easy here, Jerry, regardless of how good your race car is and how good of a race driver you are. There are 3 distinctively different turns here with different banking. Easy to get in trouble. You can't set the car up where it gets through all the turns the same every time around, so it takes total concentration to drive around here. And if that concentration laps for just a moment going into one of those turns, that curbing down on the inside can get you, and a lot of other things. Of course, when you start lapping cars too, you have to be very careful because they can help you to get in trouble. And of course, if you have just a little bit of a mental lapse by yourself or by another driver, as Bill Venturini can testify yesterday in practice, he was the fastest in qualifying here, but he's having to use a backup car today.
Spent most of the evening at the hospital. You saw that hard impact at the top of the show, so let's see how he's doing at the beginning of this race. He's now where our John Kernan is standing by.
Well, Jerry, Bill Venturini and the rest of the drivers just rolling off the line. He is in his car, but he is very, very sore. He spent 5.5 hours at the hospital last night. They took 32 x-rays. Fortunately, nothing was broken, but he did sustain a bruised neck, bruised shoulder, and also bruised kidneys. In fact, he has to return to the hospital this afternoon for further tests on his kidneys after this race is over. Now, this isn't the first bit of disappointment over the weekend for Venturini and company. On Thursday, they broke a motor before first-round qualifying. They did not get to go out. They went out on Friday, set the fastest time, but they had to start in the 21st position because it came on second-day qualifying. Then they wrecked yesterday, had to pull out a backup car. That means they have to go all the way back to the back of the pack to start this race. Now, Benny Parsons, we've seen what this racetrack can do to the experienced. How about the inexperienced?
John, it's going to be awfully tough. Let's take Loy Allen, for example. This is a young man who last winter, he's 26 years old, been running dirt. He decided he would try some asphalt. He bought a car from Robert Yates, one of Davey Allison's old cars. Took the car to Daytona for the ARCA race, sit on the pole. Went to Texas in March and qualified first. In Talladega in May, he qualified on the outside pole alongside Charlie Glotzbeck. He comes to Pocono at this racetrack. The best he could do was 11th. That just shows you how tough this racetrack is. The video, Venturini crashing, that was 2 veterans going down the corner. They crashed. If the veterans can't do it, the young guys just don't have a chance. Loy Allen, let's see, guys, what he's going to learn today. When we watch him at Talladega, he crashed with a few laps to go. Let's see how he handles the 3-corner racetrack.
Indeed, Benny, we'll watch him today. We'll see if he can improve on that 13th place finish in the season opener at Daytona back in February. This is the 7th stop of the 21 race, $2 million ARCA SuperCar Series schedule for 1992. Today's Speed World coverage of the Champion Batteries 150 is being brought to you by Valvoline. People who know, use Valvoline. And by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the green flag of this 150-mile ARCA event from Pocono International Raceway after this. Stay with us. Back at Pocono International Raceway, let's take a look at our Sears Die-Hard starting grid. Front row, Bob Keselowski, his first fourth pole at Pocono, alongside second-generation driver Clifford Allison. Back to row 2, Tim Fedewa from the ASA ranks, and last year's Rookie of the Year, Roy Payne. Row 3, Jeff McClure from the Busch Grand National ranks, and last year's runner-up in the point standings, Bobby Boucher. Back to row 4, Frank Kimmel, leading rookie contender this year, and a former Rookie of the Year, David Simcoe. Row 5, Jerry O'Neill. He'll be in the Winston Cup event tomorrow, and Dennis Setzer. Watch him to make a move from the Sportsman ranks. There's the man we talked about, Loy Allen Jr., and beside him, veteran of the ARCA ranks, Bobby Gerhardt. Row 7, Charging Charlie Glotzback. He won our last ARCA telecast at Talladega, and Stan Fox from the IndyCar ranks. Row 8, Mark Thompson and Bob Breback, a former series champion. As you look at the rest of our starting field, and had some pretty good cars starting back in the pack, including Ben Hess back there outside row 11.
Yeah, he's running good. Of course, Venturini has had to go to the back, and so has Bob Shack. He missed the driver's meeting, so he's back there with Venturini. So they're going to provide some excitement for us as we get ready to go green flag racing.
35 cars come roaring out of turn 3. Remember, only 3 turns here as Doyle Ford and Jim Clark atop the flag stand wave that green flag. We're underway. ARCA competition coming your way from Pocono International Raceway. They will fan out 6 abreast, 7/10 of a mile long, the longest straightaway in ARCA competition for the year.
Boy, Jerry, it's always exciting to see them fan out there 6 abreast, and some way or another they get down to at least 2 wide going into the first turn, and well, they should.
There's Loy Allen Jr., his Precision Walls Ford Thunderbird. Bob Breback behind him, the car number 34. Former series champion beginning to make a move. Behind him, the car number 85. That's Bobby Gerhardt, the Chevrolet Lumina. Number 2 is a Ford. The 34 is a Buick. And the white car on the right of your screen, that is a Chevrolet.
Well, we see Breback going on the outside of Loy Allen, but that's not a good place to pass on this racetrack. You saw Breback get a little bit loose up there on that high side. He might be able to do it a little bit later in the race, but I'll tell you, it's tough to do early in the race.
Door-to-door racing coming over that very treacherous tunnel turn, turn 2. They come into the short chute. 1,780 feet. They come out of turn 3 and back toward the start-finish line.
And here they go, fanning out again, 3, 4, and wide as they go down this wide straightaway, the long 3/4 of a mile down into turn 1. But they still have to get back in to no more than double file. It's best to be in single file.
There's Loy Allen Jr., 26-year-old driver, his 4th ARCA start, as you heard Benny Parsons mention. Currently being shown in 13th. Just in front of him, Bob Breback, the 1990 series champion, an ARCA veteran here. Car owned by his wife, Shelley Breback. And they're chasing these guys up front. Bob Keselowski.
Boy, he has moved away from them, Jerry. That car is strong.
Keselowski, our leader, running second, Clifford Allison. Then comes Tim Fedewa, Roy Payne, and the 89 car of Jeff McClure. Back in 6th spot is Bobby Boucher, Ford Thunderbird driver. There's Charlie Glotzback in the car number 28 moving by. Challenge for second place, Roy Payne, last year's Rookie of the Year and a winner earlier this year up at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. I should say down at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, the half-mile asphalt facility. Begins to make a challenge for Clifford Allison, second place position.
Allison had a good qualifying run here, started on the outside pole. And here is Ben Hess and Bob Breback battling for position. This would be for the 12th position they're battling for.
Side by side across the tunnel turn, Hess, a 3-time winner in ARCA competition, having won twice the ARCA 200 at Daytona. He won at Atlanta. Has yet to win here. He is runner-up 2 different times, including last July. Hess will take the position away. Meanwhile, back up front, here is Keselowski. About a 12-car length separation. It's hard to tell the differential there, but second and third, that is Clifford Allison, Roy Payne. Back in 4th place, watch Glotzback. He's on the move.
Yeah, coming down on the inside, and he makes... Well, he gets past going down into that turn.
That's Jeff McClure in the car number 89. We thought Glotzback, the cars are painted so similarly, it's hard to see when they're coming right at you, but that was Glotzback being passed for position. By Glotzback, they had started way back in 13th spot and already made a move up into the top 5.
Certain if anyone knows how to get around this racetrack, it is Glotzback. This is not the car that he normally drives in the ARCA Series, Jerry, that he won with the Talladega a few weeks ago.
Charlie Glotzback Glotzback has competed in 3 ARCA events here at Pocono Raceway. June of '87, July of '87, and of course July of 1990, and has finished second all 3 times. He's pretty consistently known for running up front here in the mountains of Pocono.
Of course, he has some experience in Winston Cup here on this racetrack too, I believe. He used to run Winston Cup races. Here's Clifford Allison trying to hold off the car number 16 of Roy Payne. Payne looked to the inside but couldn't make the pass.
Couldn't quite make the pass in that hairpin down in turn 1, so we'll take a break and come back with more Green Flag Racing in the Champion Batteries 150 at Pocono. Stay with us. Back at Pocono International Raceway, caution being displayed to the field for the first time today. You see him pushing in the car number 11. That is Bob Schacht, driving the Clint Folsom Buick. But the big story while we were in break, Bob Keselowski, who had pulled away to about a second advantage, the first car on the left of your screen, he suddenly began to slow, headed for turn 2.
Yeah, just pulled down on the inside. Clifford Allison took over the lead at that point, and Keselowski continued around the racetrack, Jerry. He did not come into the pits, and caution is out for the car number 11 of Bob Schacht, and here's car number 3 also having trouble. That's Kenny Allen.
Kenny Allen, a veteran car owner and crew chief out of Shelby, North Carolina. It's actually his car, that car number 28 that Charlie Glotzback is driving today. Kenny Allen normally runs some of the short tracks around the Carolinas, and he has pulled that car off. So we are having caution for the first time today. There is Glotzback. You see the cars are painted identically to the one Kenny Allen has pulled off the racetrack.
Got OnSat as the sponsor.
Kenny Allen taking the helmet off. Apparently he will call it a day. Glotzback being shown in the 4th position. So with Keselowski pulling to the inside, Roy Payne, a Rookie of the Year a year ago, 24-year-old driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, driving a Chevrolet Lumina, the Brooklyn product-sponsored Chevrolet. There's Doyle Ford with the yellow flag, along with Jim Clark, the veteran ARCA flagman. GMC Typhoon safety vehicle leads him out of turn 3. And while we're under caution, we'll take a chance to take this break so we miss none of the Green Flag Racing action from exciting Pocono International Raceway. Back after this. Back at Pocono International Raceway, there is Bob Keselowski, who had just been on pit road a moment ago. And Benny, what were they doing down there?
Well, Jerry, let me ask Ron Keselowski. You got out of the car with a fire extinguisher. What were you doing?
Cooling the clutch off. Maybe that'll help it from slipping. It's pretty hot. If we cool it, maybe she'll stick. Hard to say.
What would cause the clutch to start slipping?
No idea. We weren't doing nothing. I don't even know why it right started.
So, Jerry, they've taken a fire extinguisher and sprayed the clutch, trying to cool it down so it'll grip and not slip.
Jerry, I think it'll be a miracle if that does cure that particular problem as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here. I can't imagine that it would cool it long enough for it to cure the problem, but hopefully it will.
Working lap number 8. Now making lap 9 of 60, which will comprise this 150-mile event. The Champion Batteries 150 at Pocono International Raceway. There is Charlie Glotzback now making a move to the outside, the high side in turn 1. Not the quick way around, but he might make it stick coming off 1.
Going on the outside of Jeff McClure, but here comes McClure back up on the inside, and he'll have the advantage going into the tunnel turn if he can stay there until they get to that position. Roy Payne leading, Clifford Allison right on his back bumper. The lap before the caution came out, Payne was able to get around Allison, took the lead.
Roy Payne in a Chevrolet Lumina, then comes the Buick of Clifford Allison. Charlie Glotzback in the car number 28, another Chevrolet, then Jeff McClure in a Chevrolet. Top 4 competitors coming here on lap number 9.
See some cars start to spread out. Here comes Glotzback down on the inside. Takes second place from Clifford Allison. Glotzback on the move. Boy, he goes high in the turn. Let's see if Allison can dip back on the inside. He's going to try it. That's a Dale Earnhardt type of a move. Bobby Allison has made that move to Clifford's daddy several times as well. And he learned quickly from it and took back over the second position just as quickly as Glotzback.
Clifford Allison has really come on as a race driver this year, Ned. He has run so well in ARCA competition. That's the driver, that red and white numbered car number 12 in the middle of your screen there. 27 years of age. His crew chief, no stranger to this part of the country, veteran short track ace Red Cagle on that Buick, which is owned by Judy Allison, his mother, and of course Bobby, his dad. Clifford has finished 5th at Daytona, 2nd at Texas World Speedway, and finished 10th at Talladega, which we had that on ESPN last month.
I think Clifford has really gotten serious about auto racing now. We talked to David the other day, and he said, yeah, my brother is really getting serious about this business. He said the whole family is excited about it, and Davey says he has a lot of potential. He certainly has done that.
Indeed he has. So the last time he was here, you see a little puff of smoke coming out of the Jeff McClure car.
Yeah.
See, jump back in the throttle there coming out of 1. He tries to move to the inside of Clifford Allison up the Long Pond straightaway, about 4/10 of a mile. He'll try to make it work. He has the inside groove in turn 2.
And here comes Rossback trying to move right along with McClure. Now he's going to try down on the inside of McClure, but that won't work as McClure shuts the door. And Clifford Allison hanging tight up on the outside of Glotzback.
And the 37, the black car you see in the right of your screen, that is Ben Hess. That's the Target Expediting machine, the Oldsmobile owned by Jim Spicuzza. He has come from 22nd starting spot now to take over 3rd position.
Wow, what a move he made going into turn 3. 3 abreast coming into that turn. He had a lot of confidence in himself and a lot of confidence in the car. He just drove her down in there and took over the 3rd position.
There's Clifford Allison being shown back now in 5th spot.
Well, it's another driver that's been moving up through the field a little bit, and that's Bill Venturini.
He's now being shown in 14th position in the car number 25. Let's check in on Bill Venturini's status with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, right now he's radioed in. He feels that he has a right rear tire going flat. He said the car is very, very loose. It feels like a flat tire. So down here in the pits, they are getting prepared to possibly bring him in for a tire change. Now, one other note, we told you just how sore he is. Well, he's got Jimmy Horton sitting by in the pits to relief drive if necessary. And what better relief driver could you get here at Pocono? Horton has 2 ARCA victories here at this racetrack. Jerry?
Indeed he does, John, and he's one of the best on the super speedways of any of the ARCA competitors, and a very talented young man. And he just got an opportunity to get a regular ride in ARCA or Winston Cup. He could really show what he can do.
Yeah, I think he could. Let's hope that Bill Venturini doesn't have a flat tire. That man has already had too much bad luck here this week.
Unbelievable. There's McClure now beginning to move in a little bit. Jeff McClure, and a little smoke coming out of that left side exhaust. At turn 1.
What that could be. It doesn't seem to be affecting the power. The yellow flag is out now, Jerry. Car number 65 apparently has blown an engine. There is a lot of smoke coming from that car, and it's affecting his speed.
That is Jerry O'Neill in the Wheels-sponsored machine, car number 65. The Olds Cutlass, his first ARCA start. There's a look at Jerry O'Neill, 36 years of age. He's run about 12 or 13 Winston Cup events. His best finish coming a 14th at the Speedway last month in the Winston Open.
Well, he was running in the 10th position. Too bad that he had this problem, but it will give Bill Venturini an opportunity to come in now and check that tire, not having to do it under green flag conditions.
So a break for Bill Venturini, not such a break for Jerry O'Neill. His Olds Cutlass being pulled off on one of the access roads. And the GMC Typhoon safety vehicle. That's a truck with those lights ablaze, leading Roy Payne down out of turn 3. And we'll see if Bill Venturini will take an opportunity to maybe try to get down pit road. We see him turning the car left, and he will head down pit road, being followed by Stan Fox. Let's check in the pits with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry Venturini had been making his way steadily through the field. He was running 14th. He had to start all the way back at the pack. He pulls his car into the pits. They will go right side tires only. As we told you, they thought he had a flat tire on the right side, or a tire going flat, so a big break for him. They'll also make a chassis adjustment in the left rear, and he also has radioed in and said he'd like a little more spoiler. He wants him to beat up on the spoiler, so they will do that, a little more downforce, try and tighten the car up just a little bit. And now we're waiting. I don't see what the problem is right now. Oh, they're holding him in the pits. Apparently, he came down pit road just a little bit too fast, because otherwise he is in his pit stall perfectly.
Well, I tell you, if anything can go wrong, it goes wrong with Bill Venturini this week. Just one thing and then another. But, you know, sometimes, Jerry, you get in all that type of situation, and then the end result is good. Let's hope it does turn out for him, because, as I said earlier, he's had his share of bad luck. Here's Loy Allen Jr. in the pits as well.
Mark Tudor, the crew chief, they're working on that for Precision Walls, Ford Thunderbird. 29.75 seconds for Loy Allen's crew in the pits as he heads back to turn 1. Under caution for the second time today in ARCA competition. The Champion Batteries 150 back to Pocono after this. Still under caution at Pocono International Raceway. Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you ARCA action from Pocono International Raceway. And And here's the car number 2 that came back down pit road. Loy Allen Jr. getting that car dialed in, topping it off. Lots of laps to go here this afternoon. Lots of action yet to come your way on ESPN this evening. 7 p.m. all the scores and highlights Eastern Time on SportsCenter. And then all the racing action from around the world at 7:30 on Speed Week. Checkered Flag at 8 p.m. Secrets of Speed 8:30. Then Saturday Night Thunder, those exciting USAC sprints from Claremont, Indiana at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday Night Thunder from Indianapolis Raceway Park. So a lot of action yet to come your way this evening on ESPN.
Jerry, we understand Loy Allen Jr. came back into the pits that they didn't get the plug nuts tight in the right front.
Well, we're under caution here. There'll be 1 lap to go when they come back next time. So while we have a lap extra of caution, we'll take a break and come back with Green Flag Racing from Pocono. Stay with us. Don't go away. We welcome you back to our ESPN Speed Roll coverage of the ARCA SuperCar Series from Pocono International Raceway. 15 laps complete, showing caution flag for the 2nd time today. Into a couple of cars slowing out on the racetrack. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, we talked about Keselowski and the trouble he had. They brought the car back in. His brother Ron Keselowski raised the hood and cracked the line on the hydraulic clutch. These clutches in a race car anymore are hydraulic. They was thinking that maybe the pressure was building up. That was causing the clutch to slip. So he cracked the pressure on the cylinder, the master cylinder for the clutch, hoping that would help. And the 2 car came back in because the right front lug nuts were left loose on that pit stop here.
There's the car number 29 now being shown way back in 32nd position. The last car on the lead lap. We're getting set for more Green Flag Racing. Green Flag. The field as they charge down to turn 1.
And here they come, fanning out as they head into turn 1. Not 5 and 6 abreast as we've seen before. But there's 3 abreast going into that turn. And they almost didn't make it, but fortunately they did.
A couple of cars coming together. There's some close calls. Mike Wren and Bob Breback doing a little bit of fender tag down there in turn 1. They both get through unscathed.
This racetrack has a lot of characteristics of a short track, Jerry, and you do see a lot of fender rubbing, even though it is a high-speed racetrack, 2.5 miles in length. But they do get close together. As they see right here, Clifford Allison tries to make a move on Charlie Glotzback.
That's for 4th position. Clifford Allison in the red, white, numeral Buick. Car number 12. That's Glotzback on the outside. The black and day-glow orange, car number 28. Buick and Chevrolet. They're battling for 4th and 5th spot to the right side of your screen. Now a challenge for 2nd position. Ben Hess in the car number 37 tries to out-drag Jeff McClure down this 7/10 of a mile straightaway. Hess making a move at turn 1. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jerry, Ben Hess's crew is very, very exuberant right now. They've just moved into the 2nd position. And Ben told me earlier this morning that, hey, we're going to be one of the cars to beat today. They didn't get this car finished rebuilding until earlier this week. They came up here late on Thursday, missed 1st round qualifying. But Ben Hess says he's finished 2nd here before. He has not won. He feels that this place owes him one, and he'd like to collect today.
Well, he's trying to collect the lead right now, John, and they've got to be even happier in this moment when he gets back around when they can see him at the start-finish line, because Hess just goes beneath Roy Payne. Jared, it makes it look easy.
Well, he did make it look easy. He looked on the outside, and that didn't work, so he just drove right down on the inside. That car is really working. He told me this morning that that car was really hooked up. He said in the last practice, he said, we got it going good. He's breaking the draft here. That's what he's doing, moving down to the inside so that Roy Payne can't draft up, and then he goes high to go into the turn.
Watch the hood on this car number 89 beginning to flap a little. It looks like maybe a hood pin may have broken off. We've already mentioned the car's been smoking coming out of turn 1. That's Jeff McClure's Chevrolet Lumina. It's an old Rick Hendrick car. But as the car comes at you up that long turn straightaway, look at the left front of the hood. Looks like the hood pin may be broken off.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe that is broken. And Jerry, that'll only get worse. It's not going to get better as time goes by. As that air gets under there and it keeps flapping and banging away, it'll break another one.
What a tough break for 24-year-old Jeff McClure. Terry Allen, the crew chief. They had him awfully pumped up about maybe getting a good finish today. He had a good qualifying effort. Qualified the car in 5th, currently being shown in 3rd position. And here's the car number 14. Young man making his first start ever, not only in ARCA, but in the United States. Ian Thomas from Lincoln, North Carolina. He's actually from Australia, driving a Pontiac.
Having a pretty good run here. currently being shown in the 13th position.
We asked Ian Thomas, you run the Australian courses, but what about coming to the United States and running in this country? Why did you want to come here and be a part of ARCA competition? Ian?
We thought we might like to try and run a Winston Cup race, but these guys are too fast for us Australians. So we thought we'd dip our feet in the water with the ARCA.
Well, he has finished 4th, I think, in his best finish there at the Thunderdome in Australia. Pretty good runs. There's Bill Venturini just coming in the right side of your screen, and we look from inside Bill Venturini's in-car camera as he goes around the Mark Thomas machine, car number 62, and he is following that Pontiac, car number 14. The car was purchased from Team 3 Racing. I'm talking about the car number 14 now, that Ian Thomas's machine. We had a lot of help from Phil Barkdahl getting the car ready to come to Pocono. Not doing a bad job.
No, he's not doing bad at all, but apparently those adjustments they made on Venturini's car is helping him, Jerry, because he's coming back up through the pack in a hurry. Now, this backup car is not too bad of a backup car for Bill Venturini. In fact, I believe it's the car that he's scheduled to run at Michigan next week. And he also had run that car earlier in the year at Texas and had an awfully good run there.
Indeed, and remember last year what happened to Venturini at Texas? He did not qualify on the first day. He came back and won that race out there last September. So not a bad car at all for Bill Venturini. Looking inside his in-car camera, the Rain-X True Value Chevrolet, Chicago, Illinois driver, 39 years of age, Bill Venturini, defending and two-time ARCA SuperCar Series champion.
Here's a pass for 4th.
Lotsback and Allison. Lotsback in the 28, Clifford Allison in the 12.
Well, they've been going at it, switching that position back and forth. Clifford has the advantage now going into the turn and takes the position.
Back in the 70s, we talked about Glotzback and Allison battling door to door a lot of times then on some of these short tracks, but it was Bobby Allison and Charlie Glotzback, and now it's Bobby's youngest son, Clifford. This battle almost 6 seconds behind the leader. These are the 4th and 5th and 6th place cars.
And here's the car number 55 of Tim Fiedel coming into the picture there, Jerry. He's moving right up through there, coming up. He's running in sixth position behind Glotzback.
We're being told the 29 car, you see how much off the pace he is as the cars come whipping by. That's Bob Keselowski, our pole sitter. Let's check in and see what his status currently is with Vinnie Parsons.
Jerry Punch, that did not fix the problem when here he comes down pit road. As a matter of fact, right now, that did not fix the problem. As a matter of fact, the ARCA officials went down to Ron Keselowski's brother and said, you've got to pick up the pace or we're going to have to black flag you. Now they decided to take the car to the garage area. I believe, I guess he's going to stop here. If he gets it fixed, we'll let you know, Jerry.
What a tough break for Bob Keselowski. 4 wins in 1991, still looking for his first win of the 92 season, and now that car sits on pit road after being a pole sitter today. He will not get win number 5 at Pocono. Here's the battle for 2nd and 3rd, the 16 car, the Chevrolet, Roy Payne, 89 of Jeff McClure. I'm impressed with Jeff McClure that he has not run many ARCA events, only a handful of Busch Series events, but doing awfully well as he described it on an extremely tough racetrack.
Doing a great job. This is a difficult racetrack to keep that total concentration, to make that car do what you want it to do all the way around. He is doing a very, very good job sitting there in 3rd place.
And he had never seen this track until he arrived here on Thursday. He had seen it on ESPN on television. He told me that he had never been here before. Terry Allen is crew chief. He has a Bob Whitcomb prototype engine that they have been buying engines from Prototype. But remember, he still has this problem with the hood flapping, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down at all.
No, and it hasn't gotten as bad as I thought it might get with that wind coming up under there. So maybe it won't break another one, and he'll be able to hold on until he makes his pit stop.
There's Ben Hess, the Toledo, Ohio native, all the way from 22nd position to be our leader, the Target Expediting. Car number 37. It's an Oldsmobile owned by Jim Spicuzza. Sort of an anniversary of sorts for Ben Hess. It was a year ago that he got this ride with Jim Spicuzza. The way he got the ride is he actually didn't have a car at Daytona in the beginning of 1991, and he rented this race car, the very same Oldsmobile at Daytona, and won the ARCA 200. It's a pretty impressive start, so Spicuzza said, okay, I'll put you in the race car for good. Here's the interval. There is Hess going by, and here's 2nd and 3rd, Roy Payne and Jeff McClure. About 2.8 seconds between 1st and 2nd.
And he seems to be just pulling away a little bit.
2nd and 3rd going by, and back here's the car number 28 coming at you. That's Glotzback, then comes Clifford Allison and Tim Fiedel. They are 4th, 5th, and 6th.
They used that draft advantage down the front straightaway, Jerry, trying to pick up as much speed as they could down through there, spread out a little bit as they go into the turn.
Tim Fedewa, only his second ARCA start in 1991, ASA Rookie of the Year. 25-year-old driver, normally runs the short tracks. He's had 2 Busch Grand National starts in 1992. He started at Charlotte, had a transmission problem, and had an engine problem at Darlington. But only his second ARCA start, so in the Ford Thunderbird, former Bud Moore car. Old Winston Cup car, engines provided by Larry Wallace out of Protec, so pretty good effort by Tim Fedewa, young man who has a bright future in stock car racing.
You see Clifford Allison still chasing Charlie Glotzback. There seem to be points on the racetrack that Allison has a little bit of an advantage. Other points, Glotzback has the advantage. As a result, they have changed that position several times.
Right now they're chasing this man right here. Car number 37, Ben Hess, a Target Expediting Oldsmobile. As Hess leads the way here, 25 laps of 60 complete. Back with more from Pocono after this. We welcome you back to Pocono International Raceway. John Kernan, Rick Carson, Ted Jarrett, and Jerry Punch bringing you live flag-to-flag ARCA action here. There's the leader, Ben Hess, the Target Expediting Oldsmobile. Just about 3 laps shy of the halfway point. There's $2,500 up for grab for halfway, and Hess certainly being aware of that. Somewhat on a budget, trying to make as many events as he can for 1992 in ARCA competition. Just a couple of laps away from picking up that cash at halfway.
He's moved out to about a 5-second lead over Roy Payne, who is running in second place. You see how much distance there is. Now there comes Payne into the... There is...
That's Jeff McClure
yeah.
in the second place. Back behind him is Roy Payne. Coming into your picture there out of turn 3. Car number 16 is Roy Payne, 3rd. Last year's Rookie of the Year, STP Trustone sponsored Rookie of the Year. Picking up his first win back in March at Pensacola. Now 4th, 5th, and 6th coming down toward turn 1. There's the interval. And the 28 car, which was the 4th place car, Ned, has now slipped back to 6th position. That's Clifford Allison in 4th, the Sports Image sponsored machine.
Glotzback made a little bit of a slip in the tunnel turn a lap ago, Jerry, and lost from 4th back to 6th position.
Hank Jones, the sponsor of that car, of Clifford Allison, and there, back in 5th, was Fedewa. Here's the car that's a lap down. Car number 14, Ian Thomas from Australia, Pontiac Grand Prix. Looks like Glotzback is just not able to hold on to that lead draft up front. He's losing some more ground back in 6th position. They should be approaching pit stops here in about the next 4 to 6 laps, Ned, about lap 34, 36.
Yeah, they're at the point where they could go the rest of the way if they stop any time now. Here is Fedewa taking over the 4th position from Clifford Allison. And Glotzback, when they were running side by side, Glotzback was able to catch back up. But look, his car goes a little bit higher in the turns. Look how much distance he lost just in that one turn. So I don't think that car is handling the way he needs for it to right now.
And as you said, that this is not the car that Charlie Glotzback normally drives in ARCA competition. He normally drives a Floyd Garrett owned Chevrolet Lumina, which is prepared by Richard Childress. That's the car that he had and dominated with at Talladega. He'll have that same car back in Michigan next week for the ARCA competition, but he's in a borrowed car here. Not a bad race car right now, showing back in 6th spot, but not the car he's accustomed to.
One of the Ken Allen cars?
One of the Ken Allen machines, yes. Former Farrell Harris car. And for you Farrell Harris fans and Glotzback fans, remember a couple of years ago, Glotzback started this car dead last at Daytona and led the ARCA 200 down there.
Hey, the halfway mark, so Ben Hess has picked up himself a little extra cash as we go back in the field.
$2,500. Let's check into the pits with John Kernan.
Charlie Glotzback has told his crew, Rodney Floyd and the crew, that nothing is really wrong with the car. It's just that they're not using one of those transmissions that enables you to shift like some of the front-running cars. Plus, the tires are getting just a little bit old. He says if they can just hang on where they are right now and get in on their scheduled pit window between 35 and 40 laps, then they should be okay for the end of the race with a full load of fuel and fresher tires.
As we said, pit stop should be coming up in about the next 4 to 6 laps. 30 laps complete. Working on lap 31 right now. Charlie Glotzback, 8 career ARCA wins. 1 win last year. That was at Talladega in July. He's already won once this year. That coming at Talladega last month on ESPN. And here's the car number 02. Good run for rookie driver Frank Kimmel out of Jeffersonville, Indiana, in a Pontiac, the Indiana Steel-sponsored Pontiac. And behind him, Dennis Setzer, car number 4, the Paramount Motors Ford Thunderbird. Setzer out of Newton, North Carolina.
Setzer has won a lot of late model stock races, and of course he runs in that new sportsman division, has won several of those events. Now moving up a little bit, has aspirations, of course, in running in the ARCA Series and Busch Grand National, and eventually, of course, Winston Cup, as many of the young drivers hopefully can do one day.
Already has 4 wins in 1992 up at Benny Yunt's Fine Hickory Speedway. He runs up there almost every Saturday night and making his second ARCA start. And in front of him, another rookie driver, Frank Kimmel. What an impressive season he's had. Let's check in with John Kernan on Frank Kimmel.
Jerry, you talked about this was the first time Frank had seen Pocono Raceway. Hey, he tells me that this is the first time he's been this far east. He was tickled to death with that 7th place starting run in this old Yarborough car. He says that this track reminds him of 3 different places. Turn 1 is like the first turn in Topeka. Says the tunnel turn reminds him of nowhere he knows because he hasn't figured it out yet. And he said the 3rd turn is somewhat like Indianapolis Raceway Park. And he's one of the nicest young men you'll ever want to meet. Really enjoying running on this circuit and giving a challenge for that Rookie of the Year title.
He is a son of Bill Kimmel, who won 4 ARCA Series events back in the early 70s. Here's a 3-car battle. 83, 51, and 13. Now Stan Fox in the 13. The 51 is Dave Simcoe. And the 83, that's the efforts of Mike Wren, the Alexandria, Virginia driver.
So 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Mike Wren, former NASCAR sportsman competitor, the Virginia Lodge-sponsored Buick. Car number 83. They're about 30 seconds behind the leader, of course, Ben Hess. Stan Fox in the car number 13 there. That's the Clint Folsom owned machine. Fox has won about everything you can win in open wheel competition in midget racing. Indianapolis 500 veteran. He now makes a move inside of the former Rookie of the Year, Dave Simcoe, to take the spot away. That would be for the 9th position.
Jerry Setzer coming into the pits in car number 4, so he's giving up that 8th position.
Here's Tim Fedewa on pit road.
I think these are scheduled pit stops, Jerry. Also coming down pit road is the car number 8 of Bob Dotter.
Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Tim Fedewa's brought the Jasper engine car in. They're changing the right sides, and they're trying to get the car full of gas because it's important. They've got to go all the way on fuel. They finally got the car full, and now they come around to change left sides. This is going to be a long stop. Meanwhile, the Setzer car has changed right sides. He's back on the racetrack, but they're having all kinds of problems on Fedewa's pit crew. Finally, they've got the car 4 tires changed, and now he's sitting there. I don't know what the problem is now.
Well, they're holding him in the pits, Benny. The ARCA official has held him. It looked like 15 seconds ahead for apparently some sort of penalty there.
Apparently came down pit road a little too fast, Jerry.
And here's Clifford Allison in the sports image. That's the Hank Jones sponsored Buick. He comes in to get some pit work done. Let's check in again with Benny Parsons.
No tire change. No change. They're going to make a chassis adjustment. They took 1 round of wedge out of the car. Busch has got 1 can in it. Now the other can is going in. This is the strategy to try to save some time on the tire stop. They're waiting and waiting. They got to get. It's finally full, and away he goes, guys.
Well, that certainly speeded the pit stop up over a 4-tire change, Jerry, but they should have been able to change 2 tires and still do it within the time they took to put the gas in there. But I guess Clifford felt the car was handling okay, so let's just leave her like she is.
And we are told that possibly Ben Hess could be running out of gas. The car's sputtering. We are listening from apparently his radio two-way communications back to Lee Leslie, his crew chief. He still seems under power, but if you run out of gas before you get to turn 1 here, you will not make it back to the start-finish line.
No, you won't. It's just too far to coast. Now he's coming up on Clifford Allison, then he backs off. He will be coming into the pits, and it would not be a surprise if he is out of gas, Jerry, because he's run a long way and he's run hard for a long period of time and using up a lot of gas. Well, now he moves on around Clifford Allison.
Well, the car can begin to sputter a little bit. We'll watch to see if Ben Hess will make an entry on the pit road. What are they talking about down there in the Ben Hess pits, John Kernan?
Well, Jerry, Lee Leslie has told Ben on the radio, he says, if you feel comfortable then you can stay out there. If you feel uncomfortable, then you'd better pit. Ben has decided that he does not feel comfortable out on pit road. They will bring it down slowly, 70 miles an hour, the speed limit on pit road. Already seen a couple of drivers who've been penalized for exceeding it. But Hess will pull the Target expediting car into the pits. It will be a 4-tire change. The crew, Lee Leslie and the crew, will go around to the right side. They will get a full tank of fuel. 4 tires again. Benny, what's going on down on your end?
Richie Petty has stopped, changed right side. He killed the engine trying to leave, but he finally got it fired back up. John, back up to you.
Benny, it seems like it's a little bit longer here on going up in Ben Hess's pit. They had a problem with the right side tire. Lee Leslie changing that apparently had a problem getting a lug off. And now the jack goes down. And so they're going to lose some precious time in the pits. They finally get it back up. Now the tires will go on the left front. Is on the rear tire, left rear tire is just now going on. Critical seconds lost here in the pits for Ben Hess and crew.
Well, that was a long pit stop, and while all of that was going on, Jeff McClure did come in the pits, made a 2-tire change, and got back out.
One car is spun and is backed against the wall. It's the car number 14, Ian Thomas from Australia.
And caution is out, and there are some drivers out there who have not made pit stops. This is going to be to their advantage here. They'll get to stop under caution.
Indeed, a number of cars will get a chance to make a caution flag pit stop,
including Bill Venturini and some of those who did stop earlier and took on fuel during one of the earlier cautions.
Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened to Ian Thomas here coming out of turn 1.
Okay, he's just coming out there by himself, following some other cars, and it looks like the back end just breaks loose on him, Jerry. Slides up to the high side of the racetrack, hits pretty hard on the driver's side, but he does stay up there as another car or so went by.
Well, Ian Thomas said he got some advice from some of the Winston Cup regulars. They told him 2 words, turn 2, which is exactly where his car has come to rest after contact with the concrete wall. Under caution for the 3rd time a day here. Set 37 laps complete. Back with more from Pocono after this. Back at Pocono International Raceway, as you can tell, caution still on the speedway, and they are holding Bill Venturini. You saw his son there gesturing to the ARCA official as to why you're holding my dad. And that's you saw him go by Loy Allen that's coming out of the pits there. You see the in-car camera shot from inside that Rain-X Chevrolet Lumina coming down pit road. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Well, Loy Allen brought his car back in. Remember, he's one of the cars that stopped earlier and changed tires, so he did stay out and catch this caution flag. What that's going to mean as far as scoring is concerned, I really don't know, but he came in, changed right sides, made a chassis adjustment. John, what happened on your end?
Well, Frank Kimmel, who was posted as the leader, came in and changed 4 tires, took on fuel. Also, Bill Venturini's crew talking it over with the NASCAR official. What happened was they said they had too many people over pit wall. Bill took on 4 tires and fuel, and they added some wedge, 3 turns as a matter of fact, to tighten up the car. So the discussion still comes in. Let's see if we can listen in.
Just count the people. I was going to tell you that's pit stop. They're going to call. You got him over there. I was there. Him, he was off. The jack had 1 gas. That was it. That's screwed me up. There ain't no difference on the big racetrack. I mean, you can't keep on just passing.
That's Ray Jaeger in the black shirt you see talking there. He owns Power Source, which is an engine building company out of Chicago, Illinois. He is the engine builder for Bill Venturini, trying to plead his case, but to no avail. Here's what happened to produce the 3rd caution flag today. One driver, Ian Thomas from Queensland, Australia, having his hands full. Ed?
Going into turn 2, the tunnel turn, Jerry, it looks like the car just breaks loose. The whole car broke loose, and then the back end went around on it. He tried to save it, locked the brakes, went up into the wall, hit on the left side, the driver's side of the car, but it stayed up there. And see here at the red area, that's where he crashed in that tunnel turn. And every race driver will tell you that's one of the most critical turns, most dangerous turns really in all of auto racing.
Bobby Boucher, last year's runner-up in the point standings in that quality Fleet and Farm Ford Thunderbird. In pit road, let's check in with John Kernan.
Boucher would come in for right side tires. They also held him on pit road for just a little while. Still checking out to find out what that problem was. Maybe perhaps he came down just a little bit too fast, but they changed right side tires on Boucher and did make a chassis adjustment to try and tighten him up a little bit.
And guys, one of the drivers had been running up there in the top 5. In fact, he was running 3rd. Roy Payne has taken his car behind the wall.
We'll be back with more from Pocono. We're under caution for the 3rd time a day after this. We welcome you back to the beautiful Pocono Mountains of eastern Pennsylvania. Long Pond, Pennsylvania to be exact. That's the site of Pocono International Raceway. Dr. Joe and Rose Mattioli's beautiful facility up here in the Pocono Mountains. Boy, do we enjoy coming up here, and all the ARCA competitors and NASCAR competitors enjoy being a part of the competition here twice a year. Car number 21, we saw it being held in the pits. Why'd they hold that car, John Kernan?
What I just talked to the NASCAR officials, Jerry, and they said that Bobby they weren't holding him for coming down too fast down pit road or an extra man over the wall or anything. The air hose was still out in front of the car. If he would have run over the air hose, then he would have been penalized a lap. So one of his crewmen spotted it and alertly jerked it out of the way, but it did cost him a few seconds, although under caution.
Unique thing about that car, Jarrett, that's a Ford Thunderbird, car number 21, and one of the sponsors on that car, on the rear deck of that car, is AC Delco,
which is a GM
General Motors parts.
Yeah, that's a little unusual that you would see that.
He's trying to make everybody happy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
What a nice young man, Bobby Boucher, second-generation driver.
Jerry, I'm sure that the fans, they saw Ben Hess make that long pit stop, green flag pit stop. It was about a 37-second pit stop, but he's now back up in third place. He had a good enough lead that he could stop for that long and also stay in the lead lap, even taking that much time in the pits. So
we'll have an update on that driver who was in the crash just moments ago, Ian Thomas. We'll be back with more Green Flag Racing from Pocono. Don't go away. Lots of ARCA competition left. Back at Pocono, Pennsylvania, getting set to resume Green Flag Racing. Field bunching up in turn 3. The flattest of the 3 turns are just 6 degrees.
Still showing 22 cars in the lead lap, Jerry.
Stan Fox, who just a month ago was over 225 miles an hour in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, brings them down in speeds that will approach 180 miles an hour as they fan out 3 wide and head for turn 1. Here's Jeff McClure now making a challenge inside of Mark Thompson in the car number 62. McClure takes the 2nd spot away and will begin to make a move in on the car number 13 of Stan Fox. In the 37, our former leader, Ben Hess. He came in the front in a hurry. There's Hess and Tim Fedua. They're now being shown in 3rd and 4th spot as they head for turn 2, the tunnel turn.
And look at Hess come off of that turn. His car is really hooked up to it. Oh, there's a crash. Is that Richie Petty?
That's Richie
car number
Petty's
41.
Pontiac spinning around, and he's already had one major incident this weekend as he slammed that car into the turn 1 wall back on Thursday. Caution being shown for the 4th time today as a couple of cars have come to rest just outside the tunnel turn.
Like the car number 44, Bob Denny was also involved up the head of Petty there.
There's the car number 44 you're talking about, Ned. 59-year-old Bob Denny. Let's see if we can check and see exactly what may have happened over toward turn 2.
Okay, there's Richie Petty already sideways as he comes off the turn there, and he's doing okay. Hasn't hit the wall yet. He gets it straightened out. Other cars come by down on the inside. There's Dennis Setzer. I think I called him Jerry Setzer there a moment ago. And there is some damage to the rear of Richie Petty's car, so apparently he did clip the wall a little bit.
At 24-year-old Richie Petty, of course, he is the nephew of Richard Petty. There's Richie getting a good look at the nice-looking young man. And, of course, they get working on that Pontiac Grand Prix. While we have a chance, Benny Parsons is caught up with one of our early leaders, Roy Payne.
Roy, you had the crosser going pretty good. You're in the pits. What happened?
Well, we were just kind of sitting out there riding around, you know, in our Brooklyn product Chevrolet Luna. It was running beautiful.
It's a Chevrolet?
Yeah, it's a Chevrolet, Benny.
When'd you change?
Oh, we did that over the winter. We didn't have much else to do.
Well, tell me. Don't make me look silly like that. What happened to Chevrolet then?
Well, the Chevrolet dropped the valve, I believe.
Should have had the crosser, see?
Yeah, should have had the crosser. It run fast.
See, guys, you know, you got to learn these things while we're on there. Ain't that awful?
Bob Keselowski had the crosser today.
That's true, and so did Bob Denny, who just was involved in that incident. Let's take a look at our AutoZone recap, our race summary. Sponsored by AutoZone. Stan Fox, our leader, led 3 of the 41 laps. There have been 3 cautions for 11 laps. 5 lead changes, now 4 cautions now we're currently in. Among 6 drivers, average speed a little over 127 miles per hour. The lap leaders, Keselowski, Clifford Allison, Roy Payne, you just heard Benny talking to, Ben Hess, Frank Kimmel, and our current leader, Stan Fox. Out of the race, Shaq, Ken Allen, Jerry O'Neill, Lee Raymond, Bob Keselowski, and the last one to retire just moments ago, just coming from Australia, Ian Thomas, that impact with the turn 2 wall.
Well, Jerry, there'll be a shuffle in the ARCA point standings after this race today because Bob Keselowski had moved into the lead after winning the pole here, and so he's out of the race. Roy Payne, who was in 4th place in the points, of course, he's out of the race now, so Bobby Bowser will take back over the lead. He was in the lead coming in here, but ARCA awards points for qualifying or winning the pole, so Keselowski had taken the lead, but now he's losing.
21 races on the ARCA series for 1992. The series worth an estimated $2 million. Of course, we've already carried events in ARCA competition early this year with the season opener at Daytona, the ARCA 200, also at Talladega a month ago. We'll have racing coming your way from Atlanta on the season finale. We'll have more from Pocono when we come back after this. We welcome you back to Pocono, Pennsylvania, under caution for the 4th time today due to an incident between Richie Petty and Bob Denny. Let's take a look from our speed shot at turn 2 and see if we can see. There is Petty's car, the blue and white numeral car number 41, sliding right at you.
Andrew's very fortunate, Jerry, that one of those cars, there were a lot of them behind him, that he didn't get hit.
Doyle Ford getting ready, and he waves the green flag. That boy Doyle right on cue. As we're back to green flag racing. Doyle Ford, of course, the NASCAR Winston Cup flagman today, working with the ARCA flagman Jim Clark. 4, make it 5 wide, 100-foot wide straightaway, 0.7 of a mile long, and they charge for turn 1.
And they get back down into 2 abreast, 1 abreast in some cases when they get into that turn.
Coming off turn 1, they come up the Long Pond Straight, about 0.4 of a mile, that distance between turns 1 and 2. Here is Glotzback now trying to work the rear of Tim Fido as they move to the inside of Stan Fox, who was being shown as the leader when the caution came out.
There's Clifford Allison, also in the red car, number 12. He makes a move on Fox, takes the position.
Stan Fox's car apparently not working at all as he's losing a lot of time. Here's the car number 02 and 25. That's Frank Kimmel, the rookie, and the veteran, Bill Venturini. Those cars slicing up through traffic, being shown in 10th and 11th spot, and Kimmel doing a heck of a job in heavy traffic out of turn 3.
Yeah, and up on the outside, I'll tell you, very impressed with the way he's running there. Here we go again, fanning out 4 wide, going down this straightaway. Now they begin to get back in line. Some of them get back in line to pick up a little bit of a draft from another car, because you can definitely pick up draft down the front straightaway here. Oh, car number 85, sideways going into the turn.
That's Bobby Gerhardt and Bob Brevac. Gerhardt got a little help from one car. Looked like Rick Shepard may have tapped him, the Mount Clemens, Michigan driver, driving the Charlie Newby-owned Chrysler. And Bobby Gerhardt has taken the brunt of that impact up in turn 1. Bob Brevac happened to be in the wrong place at the right time. And yes, folks, Doyle Ford waves the yellow flag once again. A good crowd on hand to enjoy exciting ARCA action. Let's see if we can see once again what may have happened headed for turn 1.
Well, you can see the white car, yeah, he gets a little bit of a nudge. That's Bobby Gerhardt in the white car, number 85. Gets nudged by Rick Shepard going in there, and Brevac really had nowhere to go. He made a commitment to go on the outside, and car number 85 just slid right up in front of him.
Well, indeed, you talk about shuffling the point standings. Now, Brevac was being shown 6th in the point standings. Gerhardt had only run a couple of events this year. Both drivers still in their cars. Lap 48, just 12 to go as we're under caution for the 5th time today. Back with more ARCA racing from Pocono after this. We welcome you back to Pocono International Raceway. Dr. Joe and Rose Mattioli's beautiful facility in the eastern mountains of Pocono, Pennsylvania. And yes, there are all kinds of activities up here. And let's see if we can coax this young man to try his hand at bungee jumping. Now,
Sure, I'm
not sure how you do that, Ned. I think they tie that thing onto the back of your britches, and you jump out, and it sort of jerks you back up in the air, and you get the world's largest wedgie.
Well, is he going to do it? I tell you, they can.
I wonder what he's thinking about.
He's trying to talk himself into it and said, no, I can't do it. No, I don't blame him.
Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Just going to sit here. Yeah. We are under caution here for the 5th time today, and because of this incident down in turn 1, Bobby Gerhardt in the white and blue numeral Chevrolet car number 85, and Bob Brevac as they pull the Gerhardt car away. Remember, lots of racing action to come your way tomorrow. Can DW and the Western Auto Chevrolet duplicate his efforts of a year ago? We'll find out live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The champion Spark Plug 500 coming your way from Pocono. Live flag-to-flag coverage. Bob Jenkins will be joining us and all of our Speedball crew to bring you that action here tomorrow. Remember, Kenny Schrader and Morgan Shepherd will lead the charge from the front row. Let's check in the pits with John Kernan.
Well, I'm with McClure's crew chief, Terry Allen. Terry, doing just a heck of a job out there. Can he hold off Ben Hess?
I think so. We only put 2 tires on, though, but we really only needed 2 tires because our car was too tight. By putting just 2 tires on made it just right now. Ben put 4 on. We beat him out. I really think we're better than he is right now.
There you have it. We've only got about 10 laps to go to prove it, guys, so we'll have to wait and see. It looks like it's going to be one heck of a shootout.
Should be one heck of a shootout. Crowd enjoying the racing action here, and outside the track, all kinds of activities going on. Let's check in one more time with our little buddy up there on the bungee. He still hasn't leaped yet, Ned. I'm afraid you have...
Yes, there he goes.
Oh.
Well, I tell you. Look at...
Oh, my goodness. Well, I told you could do it all in the Poconos, from racing to even something like that. And no thank you, folks. Have a good time. We'll be back with more racing in the finish here of 150-mile race, ARCA style from Pocono after this. Getting set for more green flag racing from Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Pocono International Raceway here in the beautiful Pocono Mountain Resort area of eastern Pennsylvania. Enjoy coming here twice a year. We have Winston Cup racing action coming your way live tomorrow. And, of course, in July, we'll be back here with more ARCA racing activity. And then, of course, we'll bring down the curtain on the 1992 ARCA season on November 14th at Bruton Smith's fine Atlanta International Raceway. We'll be crowning the ARCA champion right here on ESPN. Right now, we're trying to crown a champion of the Champion Batteries 150. And up front now, it looks like it could be a pretty good shootout between Jeff McClure and Ben Hess.
Well, Ben Hess' car was awfully fast before he made that pit stop, Jerry. We haven't really seen how fast it is now since then because he was coming back up through the field, but he's in second place there now. But that statement by Terry Allen about Jeff McClure's car, that's pretty strong, and he feels very confident that they can stay out there. If so, we're going to have one whale of a race.
Should be a heck of a shootout coming down. 10 laps to go in this 60-lap, 150-mile event.
Okay, the pace truck pulls off as they head into turn 3. Ready for green flag racing when we come back.
Jeff McClure, 24 years of age, his first time here, and never seen this racetrack until Thursday. Driving a car prepared by Terry Allen. You just heard Benny Parsons and John Kernan down there talking to Terry Allen. We're going to try to go commercial-free these final 10 laps as Doyle Ford waves the green flag. We're going to bring the best racing action to you, ARCA style, from Pocono International Raceway. They're headed for turn 1, and Ned speeds at 175 miles an hour. And here comes Hess.
Down on the inside as they go into the turn. They run him all the way down on the flat. They touch as they go through turn 1, still side by side. McClure hanging tight out there. I'll tell you, he is doing a great job, Jerry, for the first time ever here.
Chevrolet and Oldsmobile. Back there's a Ford in third spot as they go 3 wide, almost 3 wide, as Hess now closes the door and they head for turn 2.
Okay, now he'll have the advantage down on the inside here. Yeah, he takes it, and McClure knew that, so he backed off and let him go. And here is Clifford Allison. Watch him. He moved from 5th to 4th in the first turn. Here he is trying to take over 3rd in the second turn.
Clifford Allison trying to get his first ever ARCA win. Remember, laps are winding down here. It'll be 9 to go this time by.
There are the first 5 cars in your screen as they come off of turn 3. And here comes Glotzback getting a run on Clifford Allison and taking over the 4th place. They have switched that position all day long.
Now, Charlie Glotzback's car does not handle very well in turn 1. Here is Bob Dodder, the 3-time ARCA champion, who has spun his Monte Carlo in the backstretch. He is limping with some smoke beneath that car, and hopefully he'll make it back to the pits, and we will have no caution flag. No caution as of yet. And Ben Hess, about a 3-car length separation between him and the Chevrolet of Jeff McClure. Then comes the Ford, car 55, 10 feet away. Here is the Pontiac of charging Charlie Glotzback. Behind them, Clifford Allison in the Buick. So all the car makes represented there in the top 4 or 5. Ben Hess trying to pick up win number 1 for 1992.
Well, he was as confident before the race as anyone that I've seen in a while, Jerry. He really felt that he had a car that could win this race today. and he has never lacked the confidence himself as a driver. He certainly has done a great job so far. Watch him move to the inside, trying to break the draft of the other cars. They follow him down through there, you know, and then when he goes back up high, they follow him right up there too.
Big conga line trying to break the draft, moving left and right, then back to the left in turn one. As Ben Hess is our leader. Let's check in with John Kernan. John?
You know, earlier in the race, Jerry, we told you all how that was a newly rebuilt car, that they didn't get it to the track until late on Thursday afternoon. Well, Ben said when they pulled it out and put it on the racetrack on Friday morning, said they blew the wrapper off of it in qualifying. And one other interesting thing, they qualified without a tachometer in that car. That's just how close they were to getting it finished to come here to the race.
They have work, and you have to give Lee Leslie and the rest of that Target expediting crew a hand for getting that car prepared, even getting to the racetrack, much less being this competitive and leading here in the waning laps.
And Clifford Allison dropping back a little bit. Here comes Bill Venturini in the Ranex car, moving up on Clifford Allison. Clifford was up there in 4th place a little while ago, but he has dropped back a little bit now, Jerry, being shown in the 6th position, and he moved to the inside, and here goes Venturini on the outside. He could lose a lot of positions here as the field comes down on him.
That would be for the 6th spot at Venturini, and now Clifford Allison are door-to-door behind them. Frank Kimmel and Loy Allen Jr., a couple of rookie drivers in the car number 2 and 02 respectively as they come off of turn 1.
I expect Venturini had second thoughts about staying too fast, too high in that turn 1 after the situation he had there yesterday and heading towards his backup car.
There's the car number 2 of Loy Allen Jr. We talked about at the top of the show. You heard Benny Parsons talking about what a great career this young man would have, future he would have, and Frank Kimmel, a 2nd-generation driver, already being impressive in the early part of the ARCA season in 1992. That's Stan Fox in the car number 13, the Janesville, Wisconsin driver, the Sealtech Chevrolet, the Grady Humphreys prepared cars. He allows Clifford Allison to go by, doesn't allow him to go by, but Clifford makes the move on the inside.
Now Stan had passed Clifford a few laps ago, but now Clifford has taken off again. I don't know what happened that he dropped so far behind the leaders. I missed whatever happened. He might have gotten a little trouble out there somewhere, but now he seems to be moving well again. That's Clifford Allison I'm talking about. Well, this is a log jam of cars for the 6th through 10th or 11th positions there.
Battle for 3rd place, Tim Fedewa trying to hold off. Charging Charlie Glotzback. Remember, Fedewa only his 2nd ever ARCA start, being very impressive. Glotzback, a veteran of Winston Cup and ARCA competition, an 8-time winner. Also a winner already this year in super speedway driving. Keep you posted on this battle back here as Venturini has been able to get by Clifford Allison. Then Clifford Allison is next in the 02 of Frank Kimmel.
Venturini now has moved up to 5th. That would put Allison back to 6th. So Allison is having some kind of problems here. He runs like Jack the Bear for a couple laps, and then all of a sudden there's a car passing.
They are door-to-door coming down the front straightaway. Kimmel and Allison, those 2 red cars, one car bobbing and bouncing up and down. That is the car number 12, the Buick of Clifford Allison. Kimmel now slides a little bit, but takes the position away.
I wonder if Clifford Allison has a broken shock on that car. As you say, it's just bouncing up and down on some of the bumps on the track.
And here is Loy Allen now. See if he can get his Ford Thunderbird up to take the spot away. He has been very impressive. Remember, he was running 5th at Talladega back in May with 3 laps to go and had a contact with the wall. Embarrassing problem for him. I learned a lot about drafting in the late laps, and certainly it's paying off for him right now.
He backed off going into turn 2, but then he took off in there. He's backing off a little bit going into the turn. Clifford runs back up on him there, but can't gain too much through turn 3 as they come off of there. You see Venturini has pulled away from him.
That's the 7th and 8th place positions, by the way. We're talking about the car number 2. The right of your screen is 7th position. That's Loy Allen Jr. and 8th is Clifford Allison. Three laps to go of the 60, which comprise the Champion Batteries 150.
And Stan Fox is coming into the pits.
Fox was being shown in the 8th position. Tough break for the Delta Faucet-sponsored Chevrolet Lumina. That's his IndyCar sponsor. Delta Faucet's, by the way, coming on board now for ARCA racing, and he was excited about having him on that Clint Folsom Chevrolet and having a good run, having been in the lead at least twice today, running in the top 10, but now this late pit stop will cost him a top 10 finish. Back up front. Laps winding down. 2 to go. Ben Hess in the car number 37, the Target Expediting. Jim Spicuzza-owned Oldsmobile trying to pick up win number 1 for the season. Jeff McClure, he has been impressive all afternoon. That puffing smoke there since about lap 5 or 6, but it hasn't slowed him one bit. He holds on to second spot.
Apparently the crew fixed the hood on his car as well, the 89 car of Jeff McClure. Or at least it hasn't given him any more problems since we saw it.
Field now coming out of turn 2, the tunnel turn. He will head through the short chute to the flat part of the racetrack, which is turn 3, banked just 6 degrees, setting up for that 7/10 of a mile long straightaway. There they are headed for turn 3. Beautiful backdrop of the Pocono Mountains. Good crowd on hand enjoying ARCA competition, and Hess should get the white flag as it waves for him. Doyle Ford waving the white flag. 1 lap to go. Final time for Ben Hess trying to pick up Super Speedway win number 4. He has won twice at Daytona, twice the ARCA 200 at Daytona, once at Atlanta. Now trying to get his first ever win at Pocono. Remember, in years past, drivers have been able to sweep the events at Pocono. Bob Shack did it. A year ago, it was Bob Keselowski.
In fact, their name Bob has won a lot of races here at Pocono, like 10 of 13. 10 drivers in this field today with the first name Bob or Robert. We call them all Bob. But doesn't look like a Bob's going to win here today.
It's going to be a Ben instead if he can hold on for about another half a mile coming out of turn 3. Ben Hess, 27 years of age, takes the checkered flag and takes the win in the champion Batteries 150 at Pocono International Raceway. The margin of victory for Ben Hess, 3.36 seconds over Jeff McClure, and a tremendous effort by Jeff McClure to finish second. Let's check in with Lee Leslie in the Ben Hess pit.
Lee, I tell you, you guys go about everything the hard way. It seems you had that excruciatingly long pit stop. You just finished rebuilding the car here at the track. In fact, has to be a great, great win.
Yeah, it was. We really worked hard on it. The guys from Jasper Engines helped us out a lot with the motors. And Ben really did us a good job today. The pit kind of let Ben down, but he did it. He made up for us. He's a really good driver and stuff.
You guys had somewhat of a radio problem. He couldn't talk to you. He could only listen to you. How much of a problem did that cause?
Not really much problem. After the last practice session last night, we really had a good practice session, and we felt real comfortable in the car. We really didn't make no changes on it other than tires. We changed a little bit in the tires, and that was all it took.
It's all it took to get to victory lane. Ben Hess victorious first win here at Pocono.
And the Mooresville, North Carolina driver will make his way around and wave to this nice crowd on hand who watched the exciting ARCA action. And we'll be back to talk with the winner, Ben Hess, in victory lane, when we come back to Pocono International Raceway. After this, stay with us. More in a moment. Well, the champion Batteries 150 is history here at Pocono International Raceway. And Ben Hess has climbed out of his car, or is trying to climb out of his car, and now he's standing by with Benny Parsons.
Congratulations, Ben.
Thanks. We've been trying to win one of these TV races for a long, long time, and boy, I tell you, talk about some monkeys. This team's had some, and looks like maybe we've shook them. You know, Lee Leslie, I tell you, everybody's done a great job with this thing. I think Jim Spicuzza, this is a mark a year that we've been together, and Jasper Engines and Hutchinson Peg. I tell you what, this car worked good. Goodyear Eagles. I don't know what to say.
Well, let me tell you a little story, guys. About 3 or 4 years ago, this fellow weighed about 275 pounds at Talladega. I talked to him one day, and I said, if you want to be a race car driver, you need to lose some weight. Well, don't tell me that. But anyway, what do you weigh now, about 180, 190?
No, we're just a little bit more than that. But I tell you, I took your advice and Dick Beatty. And we want to be in this thing for the long run, so we're going to do whatever it takes.
I mean, you know, if a guy can lose 75 pounds, he's got my vote, guys.
Indeed he can, and what a talented young man, what a good-looking young race driver, and certainly a bright future for Ben Hess in stock car competition, Ned.
Well, he did a great job today, starting way back in the field, but very confident, drove that car to victory.
Take a look at our final results. Ben Hess, the winner. Jeff McClure finishing second. Tim Fedewa. 2 impressive runs by McClure and Fedewa. Chargin' Charlie finishes in 4th. That's Glott's back. Frank Kimmel, the rookie, finishes in 5th. Bill Venturini, Loy Allen Jr., we talked about him at the top of the show. Bobby Boucher, Clifford Allison, he slid back in his last few laps, possibly a chassis problem. He finishes 9th. And Dennis Setzer, good run in only his second ARCA start to get a top 10 finish.
Finishing 11th, Bob Denny. 12th, Bobby Massey, Graham Taylor, Rick Shepard, Robert Ham. Round out the top 15, 16th through 20th, Mark Thompson, Stan Fox, Mark Harding, Bob Williams, and Richie Petty.
Back in 21st, Gary Tootle, Glenn Brewer, older brother of Tim Brewer, David Simcoe, Dave Jansen, and Bob Dotter, the three-time ARCA champion in 25th. 26 through 30, Roy Payne, who was one of the leaders, finishing back in 30th spot. Of course, Bob Brevac and Bobby Gerhardt involved in that incident out in turn 1 that cost them a good finish today. 31st through 35th, Bob Keselowski. He will drop significantly in the point standings. Lee Raymond 32nd, Jerry O'Neill, Ken Allen, and Bob Shack, the winningest driver in Pocono Series history. 5 wins. He will finish dead last on the field. Lots of action yet to come your way on ESPN tonight's Sports Center. All the scores and highlights at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Speed Week. Highlights of racing from around the world. Checkered flag at 8 p.m. The Secrets of Speed at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And at 9 p.m., you don't want to miss it, folks. USAC Sprints from Claremont, Indiana at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It's Saturday Night Thunder. Tomorrow, coming your way, can DW Darrell Waltrip repeat it again? He won a year ago in the Champion Spark Plug 500. We'll have our live flag-to-flag coverage coming up at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Bob Jenkins and all the Speed World crew will be on hand to present that coverage. Once again, an outstanding effort today for Ben Hess. Exciting ARCA competition, the 7th stop on the 21 race, $2 million ARCA Tour. For Benny Parsons and John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating Ben Hess on winning the Champion Batteries 150 and saying, join us tomorrow for Winston Cup racing action. But for now, so long from Pocono.
Good job.